What is going on, guys? It's your boy Void here, and today I want to take a deep dive into resumes, specifically for technical careers, for sweet internships, for new grad jobs. I really want to give you guys some advice before going into these networking events, these career fairs, these small company events. I've had a video previously where I talked about how to get more interviews, and the resume is a portion of that. If you haven't checked out that video, I'll put it right here. But I really think the resume is so important that it needs its own video. It has its own set of tips. And so let's get right into it. Number one, the very first thing that you guys should be doing is making sure it's well formatted. Like, do not be sloppy. Do not overlook small things such as spelling. Keep it to one page. Make sure the spacing is consistent. Make sure there's enough space so that the recruiter doesn't have to squint to read all the blocks of text. And just make sure it looks good. For these tips, I'm also going to show you guys a few examples from my own personal resume where I am actually using these tips. So in my resume here, I actually do think that I could use better spacing, but my formatting is consistent, the spacing is consistent, and everything is spelled correctly. So the second thing that I want to talk about, this one is huge, and I've talked about this before, but you need to quantify. We live in a data-driven world now where decisions are made off of numbers. So if you can give some numbers, you really should. Wherever you can, add some numbers, add some specificity. But here on my resume, you'll see that there are a few places where I quantify certain things, such as lines of code contributed over a certain time period, or perhaps quantifying actual impact over a time period in the sense of a dollar amount of money like raised for an organization in this case. So really just try to be as specific as you can and wherever you can. If you took a class, say how many hours you put into the material for that class, if that class was something technical. So if I did something like a training course with Code 2040, great program by the way, then I could say something along the lines of participated in 120 hours of intensive data structures and algorithms practice. And that goes a lot, that's just sounds a lot better than saying I completed CodePass technical training or something along those lines. All right. Tip number 3. So this one is about your skills and abilities. What I like to do and what I have seen a lot of people do is they like to put their languages, at least for technical resumes, into different categories or like levels of experience. So me, I have these 4 levels of experience. I say proficient, experienced with, actively learning, and exposed to. So my big focus is going to be on those proficient and experienced with ones. Throughout my whole resume, I want to back that up because I am claiming that I am proficient with Java or proficient in Java and experienced with Android and Python. So I need to make sure that my resume is consistent with the story that I'm trying to tell. So if you look around my resume, I've actually highlighted a few words where I have done projects or have had experiences using especially those top 3 skills and abilities that I put. I have Android listed 1, 2, 3 different times throughout my experiences. And then I have Java listed 1, 2, 3 times as well. And then I also put Python as experience with. So I have that listed 1, 2 times. So I have each of those listed 3, 3, and 2 times respectively. I definitely think that you should do that. I like to bold them too, just to draw attention to the point that I'm trying to prove that I am proficient in these things. Cool. So you'll also notice if you scroll around my resume, I have a lot of links, or at least not a lot of links, but I have 3 links here. Make sure that firstly your links work if you have them. And you really do have to just click the link. It's not that much work. And make sure it leads you to the right place. Make sure it doesn't lead you to a under construction GitHub site or a website you created that is just your name or something that you never ended up finishing. If you have a link, please make it useful. But if you have done a personal project, I don't have many personal projects on here because most of my experience is from work experience or internship experience. But if you have personal projects and you hosted them on GitHub, or maybe you have a demo video or anything of the sort, you need to include those links. Those are really cool. People love to see demos. People love to see the actual product that you created. So that's gonna really make you stand out from the crowd of thousands of resumes that are being submitted to these companies. Number 5, this is a interesting tip that most resume tip videos probably won't include, but if we go onto my resume and we scroll down, I have an interesting course listed on my courses that I've taken under the education section. That course is the game plan for winning at life. Now, you might think, that's kind of weird. Why are you putting that on your technical resume? Well, I thoroughly enjoyed that class that I took my freshman year at university, and there are just so many interesting experiences that I had during that class that make for really great conversation points. For example, one of the assignments was to create a rejection resume. This was a resume that didn't highlight your accomplishments. It didn't highlight your skills. In fact, it did the opposite. It was just a list of everything you had been rejected to, everything that had never worked out for you. And most of the people, it was an interesting lesson because most of the people who had good regular resumes and seemed accomplished on social media had the longest rejection resumes. So that's pretty interesting. If I can find my rejection resume, I'll definitely be posting that in the description below. I'll also be posting my actual resume in the description below. That way, if you guys need any reference points or any examples of how to word things, you guys can feel free to use that as just a reference point. I've had a lot of success with this resume and being able to get interviews. So hopefully it works out for you too. Another talking point I have on here is a leadership position I had with Hacks. So that's really a passion point is what I like to call it, because whenever I talk about Hacks, I get really into it. And I think that there's no way to fake excitement that well. Well, I guess maybe if you're like Swiper or something, I don't know. But there's not a good way to fake your pure excitement and passion for something. So listing something you're really passionate about is great, because if you talk to a recruiter about your passion, you're going to come across as someone who is very involved, very engaged, and someone who's passionate. And that's just a great thing. It makes for much better conversation than, oh, I worked on this, which is similar to what y'all have, which was very scalable, and then I did this and put it in a database. You get the point. But anyways, please try to add at least one talking point in your resume. It can be something technical. If it was something that excited you, if you built something that helps you gamble money away in fantasy football, but it was a lot of fun doing it and it helps you like win more consistently, by all means, put it and make sure that you mention that whenever you're talking to a recruiter, because you will convey excitement and you will get those interviews. All right, thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you later.